Seven KBW is one of the elite commercial law sets in the UK. We get some of the best work as a result of it. It is very interesting, high-end, cutting-edge work that we do here.
We have a very broad spectrum of work in Chambers, so we have a lot of commercial fraud, we have a lot of financial work. We do all forms of contract and commercial work, very much more on the international level than on the domestic level. We do an awful lot of international arbitrations as counsel, as well as arbitrators.
I think we're quite a young, dynamic set. We're very friendly. I've been to weddings, christenings, hen do's. Haven't been on any stag do's yet, but there's still time.
We regard ourselves very much as a family of individuals. We are individuals, we're each self-employed, but we're very much an integrated family.
When I arrived through the door here, I immediately felt at home because the working atmosphere was a relaxed one where people could have a joke together, have fun. Everyone takes their work very seriously here, but definitely not themselves seriously.
I would say that we're quite quirky people. I would like to think we're quite resourceful people. I'd also like to think that we have a lot of fun, but people are also able to work independently and have a lot of stamina and are able really to crunch cases in a practical way.
I just fell in love with the history of this Chambers and the people that had come through it. One of the most famous tenants here at 7 Kingsbench Walk was Lord Denning, and he's a very well-known figure in Malaysia, where I'm from. And so I thought it would be wonderful if I could get the chance to work in the same set as he did.
Right from the start of your practice, you can expect to be involved in some smaller cases that you would handle entirely yourself, doing all the thinking, the preparation and the advocacy. At the same time, you're very likely to be involved in some mega cases, huge litigation, where you'd work with a team of barristers in Chambers. The cases can be worth hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars.
I practice across all areas of commercial law, and that encompasses everything from aeroplanes to insurance contracts to financial services, so things like banks, auditors, accountancy firms, solicitors firms, commercial disputes, but also in particular shipping. That's one of my own great interests.
What I like most about this job is the privilege that it presents. It's intellectually demanding, and you get exposed to some of the most experienced professionals in other spheres, to be able to learn from them, cross-examine their colleagues. It's an intellectual chess game. How are you going to get from A to B, outmanoeuvring your opponents? I love the challenge that presents, the way it makes me feel, and the way, when it goes well, that you feel a real success.
I remember the moment that I had my first hearing. It ended up being a 20-minute telephone hearing, but I had prepared as though I was going to the Supreme Court to argue the most important case of the generation. So I was very nervous, but there's nothing like having to actually stand up for the first time on your own. Exciting, but also nerve-wracking.
One of the things that can be quite daunting about being a barrister, particularly at the start of your career, is that you're working for yourself, you're your own boss, you haven't got anybody who's sort of supervising and taking charge of you. But what you have within Chambers is a real network of support.
You can knock on the door of anybody in Chambers and go and ask them a question, be it a silk or another junior or indeed a clerk, and I think really actually the clerks are in many ways the heart of Chambers.
I find that over the years I've become quite protective of my barristers. When a barrister is preparing for a hearing, be that in court or arbitration, inevitably the pressure's really on them. The role of the clerks from at that point is to take as much of the rest of their workload away from them as we can. The aim is to make it as easy as them to focus on the case that they're preparing for.
On the social side, there are plenty of opportunities to interact with members of Chambers outside work.
We have a Chambers weekly lunch where a whole group of people will just head over to Hall or out to the gardens if it's nice weather. And then we have regular drinks in Chambers again to sort of just let people get to know other people.
Tenants are encouraged to give back to the wider life of Chambers by being involved in the various committees. I am proudly one of the co-heads of the newly formed social committee, and we arrange various events.
We have regular Chambers tea. That sounds quite quaint, but actually it's a great opportunity to take some time out of the day meet up with other members of chambers and chat about things work or not work related.
Very few people have actually left, apart from a few people who've gone to become judges. Everyone's stayed here, and I think that's because it's a really friendly, relaxed, collegiate atmosphere.
I think it's the variation that excites and challenges me the most. Each case is unique, and I think that the fact that no 2 days are the same means that this job is really never boring.